into it. So this is a slab plate that I've made. In this project, you could think about things in series, like 2 or 3. I think in this plate series, it's not quite done yet, but I think I did 3. So variations on the same image. So we'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about how to start thinking about the ideas for these. For today, I just wanted to show you how to get started so you can kind of start thinking in your mind how you're going to go about this or what kind of imagery you're going to want to put on here. Okay, so these canvas pieces are underneath that slab roller, that big wheel back there. These are kind of nice to work with so that your clay doesn't get stuck to your table. I have somebody cutting some masonite boards for us that will fit into your lockers, so you have this board to work on and transport your work. We're going to work with some clay, and the first part is rolling out a slab for this project, and a slab is just a flat piece, okay? On my board, I'm going to do something called a coil, and a coil is just making a snake. Okay. This part is for your mold, what's going to shape the clay. Okay, so rolling out a coil. How thick or thin your coil is will decide the depth of your bowl. So if you want your plate shallow, maybe you would want a smaller coil. If you want a deeper plate, then you'd want a thicker coil. I'm just going to do mine a little bit quicker, so don't take this as your model of craftsmanship. Okay, I want to get through this before our bell. Okay, so how wide your coils are is going to tell you how big your plate will be. My next part is to make my slab. We're using clay straight out of the bag, so it's already been wedged. It doesn't have a bunch of air pockets in it. The clay molecules are already wedged together. They're bonded. This is nice to work with. So I just start by kind of molding it into a flat cookie shape. And then you have a choice. You may work with a rolling pin, or you may work with kind of throwing out a slab. I usually like to throw my slabs, and it's just a quicker way to go about it. If you're more comfortable with a rolling pin, you may stick with that. They are in cabinets 24. So what I'm doing when I'm throwing out a slab is I'm angling my slab, so as I throw, it's flattening it out. Just going like this, straight down, isn't going to do anything. Okay? So it's a little bit tricky because you have to think about the direction of the way that you're throwing and also where you're grabbing it. So I'm wanting it to get wider. These are slats. These will help you so that you're not rolling out your slab too thin. Okay, so you need a slat on either side. You need your rolling pin to fit on top. Okay, so this is making a plate that will be this thick. I'm not having enough clay right now, so mine's going to be awfully thin. You don't want your plate to be any thinner than this. Okay, any thinner than your finger. Otherwise, your plate will be really fragile. And these are going to go through a few different processes in the kiln and on different carts. Okay. Plastic bag, please. Thank you. I'll bring in some different grocery bags. There's a difference between these bags, which are clay bags. They hold in the moisture, and these grocery bags. This is just to lay over your coil form so that your coils don't stick to your plates. Okay. So I'm laying my slab over top of my coils. I'm thinking about the shape that I want it to be. Do I want my plate to be super geometric and measured out with straight edges? Do I want it to be a little bit rounder and freeform? Okay, that's up to you. That's something you're going to want to plan out in your sketchbook before you start. All right. All of these tools that you see here for hand building are on that back shelf area. So our back shelf area with those tools, how they're organized, needs to look exactly the same as when you come in. So pay attention to what cup you grab these tools from. It will just make your cleanup a little bit easier. I'm going to keep mine curved, following that style. This is kind of like an X-Acto knife for clay. And then peel off that extra. Oopsie, didn't cut far enough. We are working additive like you're adding on pieces, or you could work subtractive, which means you're carving pieces out, okay? Just like math, adding and subtracting. These pieces, there's lots of different styles of ceramics. Some ceramicists work a little bit rougher, kind of how these are. They're a little bit not as even. Not everything's perfectly measured out. Other artists will work really precisely. So you'd want to go back and kind of smooth out these edges. Okay? We also don't want the people who are loading and firing the kilns to get cut by this stuff, so make sure there's no super sharp edges. Okay? I could start thinking about if I want it really smooth or if I like that texture from the fabric. Do I want mine to be a little bit deeper? Maybe I'll kind of, well, mine's pretty shallow because my coils were smaller. But do I want it to be flat on the bottom? These are all things that I can think about at this point, kind of shaping. Okay, this is called a rib tool. It's for smoothing things out. One last thing. If you are working additively, you're adding parts on, like this stem here was added on, you need to do a 3-step process that's called score, slip, and press. Okay, you might remember that from middle school or elementary. Score, slip, and press is how you attach things. So I'm just going to do a quick little coil. Scoring means you're making some kind of texture into the clay. Okay? You're spreading out the clay's fingers. Okay? So I score both surfaces, the clay that I'm putting it onto and the actual piece. Okay? Slip is adding just a little bit of water, and in this class we use vinegar. These vinegar cups are on that back table, so any liquid in here, this isn't water, don't pour it out at the end of class. With just a little brush, we can get a little bit of vinegar on there. Vinegar is kind of a way to stop your clay from cracking. Okay? And press, you're just blending those two pieces together. Okay? Score, slip, and press. If you're not scoring and slipping and press, then these pieces will just fall off. When they become leather hard or when they become dry or bisqueware, they just roll right off. Alright? So that kind of gives you the beginning steps or gives you an idea of what we're working towards. You can think tonight about what you want your plates to look like, what kind of style you're leaning towards, and tomorrow I'll talk more about how to plan these things out. Okay?